ज्ञानाञ्जना शलाकय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So welcome back to the Friday and Saturday series on the teachings of Lord Chaitanya to Sanatana Goswami, Sanatan Shiksha. Krishnera Sarup Vichar. So Sanatan. So Krishnera Sarup Vichar discussion, as we are seeing, is a very lengthy and a very philosophical discussion based on Sambandha Abhidheya Prayojan, Bhagavan Sambandh. And there is Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So Sambandh has to be established by with Bhagavan through the parable story of the astrologer and the man in distress who had lost the wealth. That was established. And who is this Bhagavan? Swayam Bhagavan Krishna. And then the whole, Swayam Bhagavan Tadekatma and Avesh. And we have been seeing how in Tadekatma there is Prabha Vilas, Vaibhav Vilas. And there is also Swamsha. Within Swamsha, there are the Purusha avatars. The Purusha avatars, the Guna avatars, the Leela avatars, the Manvantara avatars. And then there are the Shakti-Avesh avatars. So within the Purusha avatars, we have been discussing Karanodakshaya Vishnu or Mahavishnu. How Mahavishnu is just an expansion of the expansion of an expansion of an expansion of an expansion of Balaram, who is the first expansion of Krishna. So, who is this Krishna? Is ultimately we have to know his potencies, says Aishwarya. So, yesterday, if you remember, we discussed these verses quite in detail. How this Maya has these two divisions, two functions. One is Maya, other is Pradhan. And we saw the technical difference between Pradhan or Avyakta, Mahatattva, and Prakriti. And then there was one reference also Prabhupada gives. And then when Mahavishnu glances and there is agitation in the pradhan, the three modes which are in equilibrium, that equilibrium breaks. And then the first material energy, the sum total of material energy, which is called as Mahatattva, is created, which is the subtlest. From the subtle, the gross things slowly manifest. So we saw some of the verses in the Chaitanya Charitamrita and how directly Mahavishnu doesn't come in contact with Pradhan. It is through his functional expansion, his specific functional expansion, and that we saw it as Shambhu. You might call him a Shiva or Rudra, but actually it is the Shambhu principle. And that also we saw from the Golok chart here. It is Shambhu, you can see. Also, he is mentioned as Shambhu. It is Shambhu who carries the jivas and impregnates in Pradhan. And Shambhu and the consort Durga Devi, they are our material father and mother in one sense. And the whole creation process begins. That's what yesterday's verse also we saw quite in detail. And then what is the Shivalinga also Prabhupada explains. And then there were two scriptural proofs for this. We saw those two scriptural proofs also. And then we came to this verse yesterday. And yesterday we stopped the discussion here. So now we will continue our discussion from here. So after he answers the Shambhu principle, what happens? Tabe Mahatattva hoite trivid ahankar yaha hoite devata indriya utera prachar. First, the total material energy is manifested. Tabe Mahatattva hoite. And from this arise the three types of egotism. Trivida ahankar. So from the Mahatattva rise the three egos, which is the original sources from which all demigods, controlling deities, devata, senses, indriya, and material elements, bhuta. Bhutera means, it's Bahuvachan. No, they expand. Prachar. Prachar here means expand. They expand. So, Pradhan, with the glance of Mahavishnu, there is first Mahatattva which is formed. Total material energy is manifested. And Mahatattva, then because the modes are there, Mahatattva, with the mode of goodness, with the mode of passion, with the mode of ignorance, will create what? The demigods. Now these demigods, please carefully listen. These demigods are not the demigods which are within the universe. These are the Adi Devas, as yesterday I was explaining, from Mahavishnu's only, limbs only, these Adi Devas manifest. These are the controlling deities for these elements which are created. These are the Adi Devas actually. These are not the Devas within the universe, the Indra, Chandra, Vayu, which are there, because still the universes are not formed. So the Devatas, the Indriyas, and the elements are formed. So this is what is called as the primary creation. So let us see what Prabhupada has to say in his purport, and then we will discuss more if you have questions. But now everything here in the form of chart I have put. The pradhan is the modes which are inert, that is the modes which are in equilibrium, as I was mentioning yesterday. So when Mahavishnu glances along with Kala Shakti, Karma, and the Swabhav. This is all explained in the Bhagavatam. The whole creation process is in principle discussed in the first canto and more in the second canto and still more exhaustively in the third canto. Second canto and third canto discuss quite exhaustively the whole creation. But here we are just summarizing because in the Chaitanya Charitamrita this verse is there. So what happens first? Mahat Tattva. So Mahat Tattva, initially the mode of passion is there, and then there is ignorance also, goodness, and then there is also ignorance, all three. So there is the Trivid Ahankar in the Tamas. So Mahat Tattva with Rajas, Mahat Tattva with Sattva, Mahat Tattva with Tapas, all three happen. And then from Mahat Tattva, in ignorance, Ahankar, comes the Sattvic Ahankar, which is called as the Jnana Shakti, the Rajasic Ahankar, which is called as the Kriya Shakti, and the Tamasic Ahankar, which is called as the Dravya Shakti. So remember, this is Mahat Tattva in ignorance. And this Mahat Tattva in ignorance, again, within ignorance, there is goodness, passion, and ignorance again. And Mahat Tattva now, which is in ignorance, with goodness, the Jnana Shakti, Kriya Shakti, and the Dravya Shakti. Again, there is further. So these are the Adi Daiva, the mind plus the 10 sense Devatas, which was mentioned here, Devatas. Then the intelligence, prana, and the 10 senses, Indriya. Devata, Indriya, and Bhuta. Bhuta means the elements. So in Mahatattva, in ignorance, with the mode of ignorance, creates the Dravya Shakti. Dravya means you can understand. Dravya means the material, you can say. Dravya, Tamasik Ahankar. So first sound, from sound ether, then touch, air, form, fire, taste, water, smell, and earth. So these are created. Now please remember that all this, the sense devatas, sometimes this Mahat Tattva is also called as Mahat Buddhi, the sum total of all intelligence, Mahat Buddhi. And then these elements, these are in the seed form, they are quite subtle. And this creation or these elements are formed here. They are formed here. Just to give a crude example, very crude example is take any seed. Take the seed of the wheat, and wheat is now in the form of a seed. Now this wheat has to be powdered. That is one transformation. Now after powdering process is done, still that wheat cannot be used to form chapatis. Now after the powdering, then there is further mixing. The wheat has to be mixed with water, and then there's a dough. And from the dough, you make rolls of round chapatis, and then you heat it on fire, and then you get the chapatis. So that wheat, which is in the seed form, comes as wheat chapati, which has forms. So similarly, the wheat which is in the seed form, these elements which are there in the seed form, that creation happens here. And all these elements which we are discussing, they are created. This is outside the creation. The universe is still not formed. Please remember now, the universes are not yet formed. So all these elements in the seed form are manifested. So that is what is being discussed in this verse. And now when these elements, each of these elements have their devatas, and the Adi Devas, the prayers are there in the Srimad Bhagavatam, third canto. They are not ready to mix with each other. Now, until they don't mix with each other. Second. Yeah, I'll have to second. I'll have to show you this. Minimize this. Yeah. These elements now remember Atta also is still not the complete form. There has to be, the atta has to be rolled and put in fire like that. And then chapatis are rolled and chapatis are formed. So similarly, these seed forms, these, these elements mix, and uh, then these elements are used to create the universes. The universe, these elements you can see there is earth, water, fire, air, all these layers. So the initial Brahmandas are golden eggs, and on this, these layers are there. And then the bodies of the living entities like Brahma and all the living entities, and then Brahma gives the bodies to all the jivas, the 14 planetary systems. So then that's how it happens. So just a brief discussion we had about it. Now let us see what Prabhupada has to say about it. So we have seen this. Okay. The three types of egoism, ahankar, are technically known as Vaikarika, Taijasa, Tamasa. So I told Sattvic Ahankar, Rajasic Ahankar, Tamasic Ahankar. So they are also called as Vaikarika, Taijasa, and Tamasa. Jnana Shakti, Kriya Shakti, Dravya Shakti. The Mahatattva is situated within the heart or Chitta. And the predominating deity of the Mahatattva is Lord Vasudeva. So Lord Vasudev is the predominant deity of the heart or the chitta. So Mahatattva is, I told you, at a macro level, universal level, the Mahatattva is created. That at a micro level in our body, it is false ego, ahankar. So, and the predominating deity is Vasudev. The Mahatattva is transformed into three divisions. We saw the three divisions: Vaikarika, egoism in goodness; Sattvic Ahankar, from which is manifested the 11th sense organ, the mind, whose predominating deity is Anirudh. So Anirudh is the predominating deity of the mind. So we saw that mind and the sense devatas are there. Taijasa, or egoism in passion, Rajasic Ahankar, from which are manifested the active and the knowledge acquiring senses, the senses and the intelligence, along with the intelligence whose predominant deity is Lord Pradyumna. Pradyumna is the predominating deity for this. And Tamasa, egoism in ignorance, from which the sound vibration, Shabd Tanmatra, expands. So we saw sound, air, ether, fire, and water, and then earth, and all the sun Tanmatras are there. From sound vibration, the sky, Akash, is manifested, and then the senses, beginning with the sense of hearing, are also manifested. Prabhupada is referring third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Kapil Dev's. Of these three types of egoism, Lord Sankarshan is the predominating deity. In the philosophical discourse known as the Sankhya Karika, it is stated, Satvika Ekadashaka Pravartate Vaikritat Ahankarat Bhutadestan Matram Tamasat Yasadya Ubayam. So Sankhya Karika is by Kumar Leela Bhatta, one of the authors who uh, wrote the Sankhya Darshan. Sankhya Yoga Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Sankhya. On the Sankhya Sutras, he wrote a commentary and he was very famous, Kumar Leela Bhatta. So basically, it is the analysis of the 24 elements. Prabhupada is quoting that, all these elements are, Satviki Eka Dashaka Eka Pravartate. That, the 11 sense devtas along with the mind. And from the ignorance, bhutades. Bhutades means the elements, beginning with the sound, air, ether, and all that. All that is proper, just briefly touches upon it. Any questions, any clarification anyone has? Yes, Parsarthi Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, could you please show the previous slide?
Your audio is not clear. 1 second, let me see whether my audio is.
Could you please show the previous slide, Prabhuji?
Previous slide, 1 second. You mean Prabhupada's purport?
The one previous to this.
Okay.
Yes. One more. Thank you very much.
Okay.
I have no question.
Any other questions anyone has? Of course, this is quite a liability to be discussed for a few sessions to understand the whole creation which is there in the second canto and the third canto. I've just briefly touched upon it because Prabhupada is mentioning in his commentary. So everything I just put it in the slide, in one slide. Satvik Ahankar, Rajasik Ahankar, Tamasik Ahankar, Dravya Shakti, Kriya Shakti, Jnana Shakti. And their predominating deities, Prabhupada additionally touches upon it. The predominating deities for Satvik Ahankar, the mind is Anirudh, and for intelligence it is Pradyumna, and for the Chitta, Mahatattva is it is Vasudev, and for the for all the three types of fear, it is ultimately Sankarshan. That's why sometimes, being free from Ahankar, we should pray to Lord Shiva, because Lord Shiva's worshipable deity is Sankarshan. So he can make us free from false ego. Sarva Tattva Mili Srijila Brahmandera Gana Ananta Brahmanda Tara Nahike Ganana. Combining all the different elements, Sarva Tattva Mili, the Supreme Lord created all the universes. Srijila Brahmandera Gana. Those universes are unlimited in number. Ananta Brahmanda. There is no possibility of counting them. Tara Nahike Ganana. Just like if you have a sack of mustard seeds, ever imagine trying to count the number of mustard seeds? So similarly, this is unlimited universes. So here again, I'm putting this in the slide. Karanakshay Vishnu Kala, Karma and Swabhav. The modes are inactive. Pradhan, Mahatattva. Initially, it is predominated of Rajas and Tamas, but later on transforms into Ahankar, predominated in Tamas. Mahatattva, predominated in Tamas. So we saw how the mind and sense devatas, 11 total, and Anirudh is the deity, and then there is the intelligence, Pradyumna is the deity, and then this is Dravya Shakti. The Mahatattva is basically Vasudeva. Vasudeva is Sankarshan. Sankarshan is the predominating deity of all the three, it was mentioned. So with all these elements, what happens? The assembly happens into various universes through Maya Shakti, and these universes are created. So here you can see these universes also come out of the pores of Mahavishnu. At the same time, from the Pradhan, these elements are created, and elements combine, and then the universes, you can see the universes in the form of egg-shaped golden eggs. Then these elements which are created, they form layers on these Brahmandas. And that's how the universes are also created. Just like you can see an egg has inside a yellow layer, and then there is a thick white layer, and then there is a hard shell layer. So all these layer formations, these elements which are created, they are used for creating these universes. So that's the point being mentioned here. Iho Mahat Srishta Purusha Mahavishnu Nam Ananta Brahmanda Tandra Lomakupe Dham. The first form of Lord Vishnu is Mahavishnu. Iho Mahat Srishta. The Mahat Tattva and all Srishti he does, na Purusha. Mahavishnu Nam. His name is Mahavishnu, or he is known as Karodakshai Vishnu. He is the original creator of the total material energy. Mahat Shrishta Purusha is. The innumerable universes emanate from the pores of his body. So universes also emanate from his pores of his body. The universes come out of his body, and these material elements by his glands, the pradhan which is in the inert state, by his glands, the creation of the Mahatattva, total material energy, and all these elements is there. And then they all combine, and the universes are further, these layers are formed. Kavaske udiyayache renu aseyaya purusha niswasa saha brahmanda bahiraya punarapi nishwasa saha yaya abhyantara ananta aishwarya tanra sabamaya pare. These universes are understood to be floating in the air that Mahavishnu exhales. So universes are floating in air. When Mahavishnu exhales, when he exhales, the universes come out. They are like atomic particles that float in sunshine and pass through the holes of a screen. So just an example is given, just like atomic particles, they, sometimes in the sunshine you can see some tiny particles, atoms, which are, and especially you have a hole, and through this the sunshine is coming, you can see some particles. So like that. All these universes are thus created by the exhalation of Mahavishnu, and when Mahavishnu inhales, Punarapi Nishwasaha, they re-enter his body. The unlimited opulences of Mahavishnu is completely beyond material conception. Ananta Aishwarya Tanra Sabha Maya Pare. So we cannot imagine what is the Aishwarya of Mahavishnu. Just like children, when they go to circus, you get kind of some kind of a liquid with an instrument, and then they blow air, and slowly the red type of balls they come out. But it is not that the child inhales and all these balls again go back. No, he can do that. So similarly, you can imagine Mahavishnu when he exhales, universes come out, and when he inhales, universes go back in his body. So the scriptural proof is given. Yasse kanishvasiti kalam athavalambya jivanti loma vilaja jagadandanathah Vishnur Mahan Sahya Yasya Kala Vishesha Govindamadi Purusham Tam Aham Bhajami. The Brahmas and the other lords of the mundane worlds appear from the pores of Mahavishnu and remain alive for the duration of his one exhalation. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, of whom Mahavishnu is a portion of the plenary ocean. So Prabhupada said this is the quotation from the Brahma Samhita. For explanation, see Adi Lila, chapter 5, verse 71. Let us see what Prabhupada has to say in that purport. this description of the Lord's creative energy is from the Brahma Samhita, which Lord Brahma compiled after his personal realization. So Brahma had this personal realization after 50 years. Brahma's age is 50 years and his birthday is just over, and the first day is going on. 50 years is over, and the first day of his 50th year is going on. That is the universe half life is over now. So after spending 50 years, it is called as Parardha, Dviparardha. Dviparardha means 50 years together of Brahma's Parardha, it is called. Then he had this realization of Golok Vrindavan. So imagine, even Brahma has to go through realizations. When Brahma came from the navel of Garbhodakshay Vishnu and he meditated, then he had the darshan of the Mahavaikuntha, Narayan, and he shook hands with Narayan, and then the Chaturshloka Bhagavatam was spoken. That is there in the 7th canto, 9th chapter. So, but after 50 years, uh, quoted like this, Prabhuji was given the realization of Golok Vrindavan. He saw Shyam Sundar Krishna in Golok Vrindavan. He had the darshan of Golok Vrindavan. And then, from his personal realization, he sang this Brahma Samhita. So this is the description. When Mahavishnu exhales, the spiritual seeds of the universes emanate from him in the form of molecular particles like those that are visible 3 times the size of an atom when sunlight is diffused through a small hole. So when sunlight is diffused through a small hole, uh, uh, 3 times size the atom. There is Anu, Parmanu. All this is there in the what is this Vaisheshika philosophy, and then you can see that it is visible, they say. So in these days of atomic research, it will be worthwhile engagement for atomic scientists to learn from this statement how the entire creation develops from the spiritual atoms emanating from the body of the Lord. As Prabhupada is giving here some indication. So there's another scriptural proof I'm giving now, which is not given in the Madhya Lila chapter 20, but when this verse is quoted in Adi Lila 51, Adi Lila chapter 5, 71st verse, the next verse is Brahmaji's realization. Vaham tamo mahat aham kha chiragni varabhu samveshtitanड घटसप्त वितस्तिकाः कायः वेदृग् विदावि गणिताण्ड परानुचार्या पाताद्वः रोम विवर्स्य च ते महित्वम्. Where am I? Kwaham, a small creature measuring 7 spans of my own hand. So our own hand, if you take, our length will be 7 times more. Who am I? Where am I? Brahma is saying, I'm enclosed in the universe composed of material nature, the total material energy, false ego, ether, air, fire, water, and earth. So I'm measuring this size and I'm enclosed in this universe made of all these elements. And what is your glory? Unlimited universes pass through the pores of your body, just as particles of dust passing through the opening of a window. So this is his glory. When Lord Brahma, after having stolen all the calves and cowherd boys, returned and saw that the calves and boys were still roaming with Krishna, he offered this prayer. This is in the 10th canto, 14th chapter. In his defeat, a conditioned soul, even one so great as Brahma, who manages the affairs of the entire universe, cannot compare to the personality of Godhead, for he can produce numberless universes simply by the spiritual rays emanating from the pores of his body. Material scientists should take lessons from the utterances of Sri Brahma regarding our insignificance in comparison to God. In these prayers of Brahma, there is much to learn for those who are falsely puffed up by the accumulation of power. what to speak of some, big million-year or trillion years here on planet Earth who are having uh, big companies like the Microsoft or I don't know, whichever company you can say, you know, Reliance or whatever it is. So much of wealth they have. But what is it compared to Brahma, who owns the entire 14 planetary systems? And what is Brahma feeling here? And what is his prayer? So we have to learn a lot. That's what. Okay, there is one question. Parsarthi Prabhuji, yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So my understanding is that Brahma Samhita is not the prayers given by Brahmaji at Brahma Vimohana Leela. It is a
Oh, no,
separate prayer.
no, it's a
Uh,
separate prayer.
so, is there any pastime that uh, during which Brahma gave Brahma Samhita?
I don't uh, recollect anywhere reading like that, but it is just mentioned that just like Brahmaji, out of his meditation, was blessed by the Lord of Vaikuntha Narayan, where he had darshan of the Mahavaikuntha and darshan of Narayan. Similarly, after 50 years of his service and deep contemplation and absorption, um, he had the darshan of Shyam Sundar Krishna and Golok Vrindavan, and then he sang these Vedic hymns, the Brahma Samhita. So the pastime behind it, just like the prayers of Brahma, because in the 10th canto, because of the Brahma Vimohan Leela, like that, what pastime happened where uh, he spoke the Brahma Samhita, I have not come across till now. So I cannot say anything much about it.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, now all the verses are very clear. We'll go quickly. समस्त ब्रह्मांड गणेर इहो अंतर्यामी कारण दक्षाई शब्द सब जगतेर swami. Mahavishnu is the super soul of all the universes. Lying on the causal ocean, he is the master of all material worlds. So Mahavishnu is the super soul in one sense of the Pradhan of all the universes. Now, after Mahavishnu, then within the Purusha avatars, there is a Garbhodakshai Vishnu. So, text 283 to 293 discuss about Garbhodakshai Vishnu. Aite Kailuna Pratama Purushera Tattva, Dvitiya Purushera Eve, Shuno Mahat Tattva. I have thus explained the truth personality of Godhead Mahavishnu. Pratama Purushera Tattva. Now, I shall now explain the glories of the second personality of Godhead. Dvitiya Purushera Shuno Mahatva. Sei Purusha Ananta Koti Brahmanda Srijiya Ekeya Murtiya Praveshila Bahumurti Hana. After creating the total number of universes, which are unlimited, Mahavishnu expanded himself into unlimited forms and entered into each of them. So, as many universes there were, that many Mahavishnu expanded himself and entered into these universes. प्रवेश करिया देखे सब अंधकार रहते नाही के स्थान करिला विचार. When Mahavishnu entered each of the limitless universes, he saw that there was darkness all around and that there was no place to stay. He therefore began to consider the situation. Karila Vichar. Nijanga Shveda Jala Brahmandera Arda Bharila Sejale Shesha Shayaya Shayana Karila. With the perspiration produced from his own body, Nijanga Shveda Jale, the Lord filled half of the universe with water. Brahmanda Arda Bharila, Arda means half. He then lay down on that water, She Jale Shesh, Shayaya, on the bed of Lord Shesha. So here we can see in this picture half of the universe he filled with his own perspiration. This is God. Who can do this kind of, we with our perspiration cannot even fill one bucket of sweat. But imagine Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, who has expanded from Mahavishnu. Unlimited universes he expands. You can see in each universe there is a Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And he fills this with his perspiration sweat, his own sweat, which is called as the Garbhodak ocean. And he lies on the Ananta, a bed. I imagine how soft is the bed of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Nowadays, they have found that scientists have found that if you have water beds, you can sleep you'll experience a nice kind of pleasure. So Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is on a serpent bed underwater and is in trance, spiritual trance, absorbed in his own internal pastimes along with Lakshmi. So this is Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Tandra Nabi Padma Haite Uthila Eka Padma Sei Padme Haila Brahmara Janma Sadma. A lotus flower then sprouted from the lotus navel of that Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. That lotus flower became Lord Brahma's birthplace. So here we can see again from his Nabi, this is the stem of the Nabi, and there is the lotus, and in the lotus is born Lord Brahma. Sei Padmanale Haila Chauda Bhuvana Teno Brahma Hana Shrishti Karila Srijan. In the stem of that lotus flower, the 14 worlds are generated. Then he became Lord Brahma and manifested the entire universe. So Garbhodakshaya Vishnu further expands into first Guna avatar, that is, Brahma is a Guna avatar. Sometimes he can be a Jiva, sometimes he can be if no Jiva is qualified, then the Lord himself can take that position. Vishnu Rupa Hana Kare Jagat Palane Gunatita Vishnu Sparsha Nahi Maya Sani. In this way, the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his form of Vishnu maintains the entire material world. Since he is always beyond the material qualities, the material nature cannot touch him. So he takes the form of Vishnu and does the Palan. Again, the three modes come into play. He expands as a Guna avatar for Rajas in form of Brahma, as goodness Vishnu, but Vishnu is Gunatit. Please remember, he is Gunatit Vishnu. And as Shiva, for controlling the mode of ignorance, for destruction, creation, maintenance, and destruction. Now, both Brahma and Shiva are within the modes. They can get influenced by the modes. But Vishnu is always transcendental. That has to be known. Yes, Birendra Yadav Prabhuji, you have a question?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, in this verse 288, where it is mentioned that then he became Lord Brahma.
Yeah.
So Lord Brahma, Prabhu, he is Jiva Tattva. So how this, I don't understand how it is.
No, basically, Brahma is invested with the potency of the Lord. Bhagavat Avesh, it is called. Bhagavat Avesh. So, so he himself gives the Shakti to Brahma to do the further secondary creation. So in that form, it is his expansion. Just like to impregnate the jivas, he doesn't come in contact. We saw here, it doesn't come in doesn't come in contact, but he expands in the form of Shiva, who comes in contact with Maya. Similarly, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu uh, 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 invests his potency in Brahma, and through Brahma, the secondary creation is done. So he is a Jiva Tattva, but the potency is invested. In that form, he himself, that's why it is mentioned. He in the form of Brahma, it is mentioned. And as I was mentioning, if there is no Jiva qualified, then the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu himself takes the role of Brahma, but that time he is not a Jiva Tattva, he is Vishnu Tattva, and he is also transcendental. He cannot get bewildered by Maya. Just like Brahma following Vak, his own daughter, or Brahma becoming bewildered by the Brahma Mohiman Leela, it happened because the Brahma is Jiva. But when there is no Jiva who is qualified to take the post of Brahma, then Vishnu himself takes the role. But when the Jiva is qualified, then Vishnu's Shakti enters into Brahma. Bhagavat Avesh it is called. So in that form, it is he himself is doing it. Got it, no?
Right, bro. Thank you. Thank you.
Sarthi Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji. 1 second.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, the Vishnu Tattva Brahma doesn't do penance, no, in the beginning. Prabhuji.
Why do you feel like that?
Because I heard that in the beginning, when Brahma comes, he does not know what to do, so he does penance, and then. But here, my feeling is that Vishnu Tattva Brahma need not do penance because he knows he is Vishnu Tattva.
He will still do penance to set an example. Just like Nar Narayan Rishi, they are Nar and Narayan, and they performed severe austerities in the Gandhamadhan mountains in the Himalayas, and now also they are doing austerity to set an example that tapasya is required for spiritual realization. So similarly, as a pastime, he will still perform tapasya. Just like Lord Krishna also, in his Dwarka Leela, every day morning he was getting up, doing all his duties. He was meditating. He was meditating on himself, whom he meditate on. All this he was doing just to set an example. So like that, you have to understand. Is it clear?
Thank you.
Okay. So let's go through these verses now. So his own form is Vishnu and he only becomes Brahma. Prabhupada's purport, let us see. The influence of material energy cannot touch Lord Vishnu as she touches Lord Brahma and Shiva. This is what I was mentioning. Therefore, it is said that Lord Vishnu is transcendental to the material qualities. The incarnations of the material qualities, Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, are under the jurisdiction of the external energy. Lord Vishnu, however, is different. In the mantras of the Rig Veda, it is said, Om Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam. The word Paramam Padam indicates that he is transcendental to the material qualities. Paramam. Paramam means transcendental. Because Lord Vishnu is not within the jurisdiction of the material qualities, he is always superior to the living entities who are controlled by the material energy. This is one of the differences between the Supreme Lord and the living entities. The Lord is Maya Dish, that he is the controller of Maya, and living entities can Maya Adin, they are Maya Adin, they are trapped in Maya. Lord Brahma is a very powerful living entity, and Lord Shiva is even more powerful. Therefore, Lord Shiva is not accepted as a living entity, but at the same time, he is not considered to be on the level of Lord Vishnu. So he is in between Jiva and Vishnu Tattva, and in between that's why it's called as Shiva Tattva. Rudra Rupa Dhari Kare. Shiva. So Shiva manifestation, Sadashiva is here, and his expansion is Shambhu, and Shiva is manifest within the universe here from Brahma, and because he came out crying, he's called as Rudra. And there are the 11 Rudras. And Rudra is also manifested 11 places in our body. Anyone knows where it is? At least few. Where Rudra is 11 places in our body. The 11 Rudras are there. Yes, Parthsati Prabhuji, yes.
Prabhuji, mind.
Mind, okay. And
I only know of that mind
anyone,
is connected.
which other 11 places where Rudra is manifested in our body? Anyone knows? It is there in Prabhupada's purport in the third canto when the manifestation of Brahma is there, and after Brahma, when the four Kumars manifest, and he tells them to further create progeny, they said no, they don't obey the instructions of his father. So Brahma is manifested within our body in many places. When we become angry, what all things happen, we should carefully think. When we become angry, the pranas are agitated. We breathe heavily, and our eyebrows become very tensed. And sometimes when you're angry, you hold your fist and you beat a person with your hands and legs, right? When you become angry. So it is mentioned that Rudra is present in the hands, in the fist, in the legs, in the breathing, the eyebrows. So like that, all these places. I mentioned a few, 5, 6, but all these 11 places is there. So that's how Rudra is at a individual level, Veshti level manifested. Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, Tanra, Guna, Avatar, Shrishti, Sthiti, Pralayara, Niradhikar. Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva are the three incarnations of the material qualities. So Guna avatars also are just touched upon here. Creation, maintenance, and destruction respectively are under the charge of these three personalities. So it is Krishna himself as a Swamsh, along with the Purusha avatars, expands in the form of Guna avatars. Hiranyagarbha antaryami garbhodakshayi sahastra shirshadi kare vede andragai. Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, known within the universe as Hiranyagarbha, and the Antaryami, Super Soul, is glorified in the Vedic hymns, beginning with a hymn that starts with the word Sahastra Shirsha. The Purusha Shukta prayers, the Sahastra Shirsha Purusha Shukta prayers, it's a glorification of the Garbhodakshayi Vishnu. So he is the super soul of each of the universes. Eta Dvaita Purusha Brahmandera Ishwar Mayara Ashray Hai Tabuna Mayara Para. This second personality, known as Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, is the master of each and every universe. Brahmandera Ishwar, and the shelter of the external energy. Mayara Ashray. It is the shelter of the external. He is the shelter of the external energy. Nonetheless, he remains beyond the touch of the external. Now, because we should not think that because Garbhodakshayi Vishnu is within this universe, engulfed by the material energy, he is enveloped by the material. No, he is always transcendental. He is always transcendental. He remains beyond the touch of the external energy. So now the third Purusha avatar, that is Kshirodakshayi Vishnu. That's text 294 to 295. तृतीय पुरुष विष्णु गुण अवतार दुई अवतार भीतर गणना ताहार The third expansion of Vishnu is Kshirodakshayi Vishnu, who is the incarnation of the quality of goodness. He is to be counted within both types of incarnations, Purusha and Guna. So Kshirodakshayi Vishnu is both a Purusha as well as a Guna. Virat Veshti Jivera Tenho Antaryami, Kshirodakshayi Tenho Palana Karta Swami. Kshirodakshayi Vishnu is the universal form of the Lord and is the super soul within every living entity. He is known as Kshirodakshayi because he is the Lord who lies in the ocean of milk. Shir. Shir means Shir Udak Shai. Shir means milk. He is the maintainer and the master of the universe. So the second canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, where the Virat Purusha is discussed. So the 14 planetary system is conceived as the body of the Lord, that Virat Purusha. So that Virat Purusha is nothing but Kshirodakshayi Vishnu. So that is what here briefly it is being touched on. Virat, the universal form. The universal form contemplation, the Virat Purusha, the Satyalok is his head, the last Atal, Vital, Sutal, Talatal, Rasatal are his feet, and then the whole comparison, the what is it called? The 14 planetary system is compared to the form of the Lord. So that is the Virat Purusha. 296. Purusha Avatarera e Kailuna Nirupan Leela Avatar e Beshuno Sanatana. So now I have, Sanatana, I have definitely described the three Purusha avatars of Vishnu. Now please hear from me about the pastime incarnation. So now he is going to describe Leela avatars. Yes, Parsarthi Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, in the universe, where does the ocean of milk come?
The ocean of milk, well, the description is given. There is within the universe a Vaikuntha Loka, which is somewhere above Satyalok. Exactly the directions are all given. Maybe it comes which text it comes. I think it comes in the Brahma Samhita, and even in Chaitanya Charitamrita it is there in the beginning chapters. In the Adi Leela it is there, where exactly is the Shweta Deep. Shweta Deepa. Shweta Deep is the spiritual planet where Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, Kshirodakshayi Vishnu resides. And whenever there are any disturbances in the ruling of Indra, Indrari Vyakulam Lokam, Brahma along with the Devatas, they go to the Shir Sagar and offer prayers. So prayers are offered to Kshirodakshayi Vishnu. So somewhere within the Brahmanda, there is the Shwetadeep. It is a spiritual planet, just like there is Shwetadeep. This is also Shwetadeep. You can see here it is written Shwetadeep. So this is also spiritual planet. So within the material, each of the material universes, there is the Vaikuntha Loka, where Kshirodakshayi resides.
Is it different from Dhruva Loka?
Yes, it is different from Dhruva Loka. It's different from Dhruva Loka. Dhruva Loka is also a spiritual planet created by the Lord, given to Dhruva Maharaj. It is eternal. Okay. Now, hear about the Leela avatars. So we'll hear a little bit about the Leela avatars. It's only few verses. Purusha avatar e Kailo no Nirupan, Leela avatar e Beshuno Sanatan. Yeah, I spoke this verse. Leela avatar Krishnera na Yaya Ganan, Pradhan Kariya Kahe, Digadarshan. No one can count the innumerable pastime incarnations of Lord Krishna. But I shall describe the principal ones. Now, what exactly is Leela Avatar? Anyone can throw some light on it. What exactly? Purusha avatars. After Purusha avatars come the Gun avatars and the Leela avatars. So, what exactly is Leela avatars? Anyone? What are the Leela avatars? Yes, I have unmuted him, Mataji, please.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Prabhuji. It's a pastimes of Lord Krishna.
Pastimes of Lord Krishna only. Eh?
What?
Pastimes of Lord Krishna. Only Lord Krishna can do pastimes. No other incarnations can do
Lord
pastimes.
Krishna and Lord Krishna and his incarnations with
What
his
exactly is
Parshad.
Leela avatar?
Parshad.
Anyone else also would like to say something? What exactly are Leela avatars? Virendra Yadav Prabhuji, yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu Dandavat. I think Leela Avatar basically Lord's pastime for exchange with devotees in different what to say, basically like Lord
Different rasas.
Ramchandra, yeah, different rasa, spiritual rasa.
Yeah.
So for I think to exchange with devotees, basically he takes different avatar like Lord Ram, Lord Simdev, Lord Bama.
Yeah. Yes, yes. So basically, I'll go back to the Golok chart. See, the Purusha avatars, Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, they are all performing pastimes. And their pastimes are related to creation pastimes, where the universes are created. So they also are performing pastimes of creating the universes. Now, once the universes are created, then the Lord incarnates into these universes and performs pastime with his devotees. Those are Leela avatars. The Purusha avatar is also doing Leela, Shrishti Leela they are doing. So within the Shrishti, the avatars which come and manifest pastimes along with their devotees, they are called as the Leela avatars. Matsya Kurma, Raghunatha, Nrsimha Varadi, Lekayandra, Nayaya Ganan. Some of the pastime incarnations are the fish incarnation, the Matsya avatar, which did the pastimes Satyavrat, King Satya. Kurma avatar, the tortoise, which was there during the Samudra Manthan. Lord Ramchandra, his pastimes with Hanuman. Lord Nrsimha, pastimes with Prahlad. Lord Vaman, with Bali Maharaj. Varadi, with Hiranyaksha. There is no end to them. So there is one reference given. Matsyashva Kachapa Nrsimha Varahamsa Rajan Vipra Vibhudeshu Kritavatar Vampasi Nas Tribhuvanam Cha Tatadunesha Bharam Bhuvo Har Yaduttama Vandanam Te. O Lord of the universe, best of the Yadu dynasty, Yaduttama, we are offering our prayers unto you, Vandanam Te, mainly to diminish the heavy burden of the universe. Bharam Vo Hara. Indeed, you diminish this burden formally by incarnating in the form of fish, a horse, a tortoise, a lion, a boar, and a swan. Matsya, Ashva, Kachapa, Nisimha, Vara, Hamsa. You also incarnated as Lord Ramchandra, Rajanya Vipra, Parashram, and Vamana, dwarf. You have always protected us demigods and the universe in this way. Now please continue. So these are the demigods praying, I think. Yeah, this is the quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam 10 to 40. So one reference is given. Now the last we can take up today is Guna Avatars, and it is 18 verses. And we have 5 more minutes. So I'll take only one Guna Avatar today, and in the next class we'll take the other Guna Avatars. Leela Avatarera Darshana Gunavatarera Ebeshu no Vivarana. I have given a few examples of the past time incarnations. Now I'll describe the Gunavatars, the incarnations of the material qualities. Please listen. Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, Tina, Guna Avatar, Triguna Angikar Kare, Srishtya, Adi, Vyavahar. There are three functions within this material world. Everything here is created, everything is maintained for some time, and everything is finally dissolved. The Lord therefore incarnates himself as a controller of the three qualities, Satagun, Rajagun, Tamagun, goodness, passion, and ignorance. Thus, the transactions of the material world take place. So the guna, three guna. Bhakti Mishra Krita Punye, Ono Jivuttama, Rajogune, Vibhavita, Karitan Ramana. Because of his past pious activities mixed with devotional service, Bhakti Mishra Krita, the first class living entity is influenced by the mode of passion within his mind. Garbhodakshai Dwara Shakti Sanchari Veshti Shri Kare Krishna Brahma Rupadhari. Such a devotee is empowered by Garbhodakshai Vishnu. As I mentioned, Garbhodakshai Vishnu gives his Shakti, Bhakti Shakti enters into Jiva. In this way, an incarnation of Krishna in the form of Brahma engineers the total creation of the universe. The Garbhodakshaya Vishnu Purusha Avatar expansion of Lord Vishnu accepts the material words Satguna, Rajaguna, and Tamaguna and thus incarnates as Lord Shiva, Brahma, and Vishnu. These are the incarnations of material qualities. Among the many superior living entities qualified with pious activities and devotional service, both pious activities and devotional service, this is Bhakti Mishra only. One called Lord Brahma is infused with the quality of passion by the supreme will of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Thus, Lord Brahma becomes the incarnation of the creative energy of the Lord. And this is the reference given. Bhaswan yatamsha sakaleshu nijeshu teja swiyam kiyat prakatayatyapitadvat atra brahmaya esha jagadanda vidhana karta govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. This is from Brahma Samhita. कोनो कल्पे यदि योग्य जीवन ही पाए आपने ईश्वर तबे amshe brahma hoy. If in a kalpa a suitable living entity is not available to take charge of Brahma's post, Supreme Personality of Godhead himself personally expands and becomes Lord Brahma, as I already mentioned. One day of Brahma consists of 4 yugas multiplied 1,000 times according to solar calculation. And such also is the duration of his night. 1 year of Brahma's life consists of 360 such days and nights, and Brahma lives for 100 such years. Such is the life of Brahma. Yasang ripankajarajo akila lokapale maule uttame radritam upasita tirtha tirtham brahma bhavoham api yasya kala kalaya shrishchodva ema Chiramasya Ripasanam. What is the value of a throne of Lord Krishna? The masters of the various planetary systems accept the dust of his lotus feet on their crowned heads. That dust makes the holy places sacred. And even Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and Lakshmi, and I myself who are all portions of his plenary portion, eternally carry that dust on our heads. So this is, I think, Balram speaking to Duryodhan. This is the quotation from the Srimad Bhagavatam 10:68-37. When the Kauravas flattered Baldev so that he would become their ally and spoke ill of Sri Krishna, Lord Baldev became angry and spoke this verse. So who is Krishna? You should understand. All the planet system devatas, they take the dust from his lotus feet, and they are all these, Brahma, Lakshmi, Shiva. They are just portion of the plenary portion. Even I am also, and we carry his dust on our heads. So you are speaking about Krishna like this, like that, chastising. Nijam Shakalaya Krishna Tamo Gunangikar Samhararte Maya Sange Rudra Rupadhari. So Brahma is over now. I think, yeah, Brahma till now, next verses onwards, it is Shiva. So Shiva is a little long discussion. So we will take that in the next class. We will not cross the time limit. So any questions, any clarifications up till now? All these descriptions are very important. We have to hear and repeatedly hear. You might think that you might understand the subject, but as you study Brahma Samhita, then the subject becomes still more difficult for us to understand. We thought this is Brahma and this is Shiva Tattva. But then when you study more again, Laghu Bhagavatamrit, it is more analysis, in-depth analysis is done about these Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva there in the Laghu Bhagavatamrit. Then we get still deeper understanding. Then in the Brahad Bhagavatamrit also there is very exhaustive understanding. So we should try to understand the potencies of the Lord. And the more we understand the Aishwarya Gyan of the Lord, the more then we will understand his glories, and the more we'll become attached to Bhagwan. And then we understand how merciful he is, how wonderful qualities he has. So the more we'll become attracted to him, we'll understand the Madhurya feature of the Lord, how compassionate he is to his devotees. So like that, the combination of this Aishwarya and Madhurya Gyan helps us to increase our devotion to Lord Krishna. So we should try to understand from different angles. Now we are just studying briefly, in fact, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhuji. You have some question? Yeah, Parsarthi Prabhuji, you have a question?
Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, could you please tell the 11 places where Rudra is manifested in our body? You have told 6.
I don't
Manifest leg,
remember all the
breathing,
11.
eyebrow, prana.
I don't remember all the 11, but as I mentioned, in the eyebrows, when you become angry, Raudra means anger. When you become angry, your eyebrows become tensed, right? Your breathing becomes heavy. So in the air. And when you're angry, you punch with your fist, right? Hands, legs, and the chitta, heart. So these 5-6 places are there. There are 11 places. I can find out which there is one verse where after the 4 Kunmaras declined to create progeny, then Brahma became angry, and then from his anger, from the eyebrows, came a child, Neela Lohita. Neela Lohita means it is a mixture of blue and red. Red is passion, blue is ignorance. So that's how the birth of Shiva or Rudra. And he started crying, Raudra. And so there in one of the purports, Prabhupada mentions that, yeah. So Yeah, okay. I have the purport. I'll show you now. 1 second. So here in third canto, 12th chapter, 11th verse. Rit Indriyani Ashu Vyoma Vayu Agni Jalam Mahi Surya Chandra Tapa Cha Eva Sthanani Agre Kritani Te. Where is my place, residence? When Rudra was born, he was crying. I asked him, where is my residence? Then Brahma said, my dear boy, I have already selected the following places of your residence: the heart, the senses, the air of life, sky, air, fire, water, earth, sun, moon, and austerity. Now, Prabhupada mentions anger is represented as ahankar, the false egocentric attitude of thinking oneself to be all in all. Such an egocentric attitude on the part of the conditioned, which is completely under the control of materialism, is described in the Bhagavad Gita as foolish. The egocentric attitude is the manifestation of the Rudra principle in the heart, wherein krodh, anger, is generated. This anger develops in the heart and is further manifested through various senses like the eyes, hands, and legs. When a man is angry, he expresses anger with his red hot eyes and sometimes makes a display of clenching his fist or kicking his legs. This exhibition of the Rudra principle is the proof of Rudra's presence in such places. When a man is angry, he breathes very rapidly, and thus Rudra is represented in the air of life and in the activities of breathing. When the sky is overcast with dense cloud and roars in anger, and when the wind blows very fiercely, the Rudra principle is manifested. And when the sea water is infuriated by the wind, it appears in a gloomy feature of Rudra, which is very fearful to the common man. When fire is ablaze, we can also experience the presence of Rudra. And when there is indentation over the earth, we can understand this is also a representation of Rudra, like earthquake. Earthquake is the indentation of earth. So that is where the Rudra principle is manifested. So within the body, these places are there. And then it's not exactly, as I mentioned, 11 places in the body. It is 11 residents, and within the body, we see the heart, senses, life, air, and all this. And Prabhupada is giving practical examples. Is it clear, Prabhuji?
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, so we will stop here. Jai Shri Mahaprabhu ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Hare Krishna.